In the 1900s, during the Industrial Revolution, child labor was extremely prominent throughout the country. Factories, farms, and mines abused children, sometimes from the age of 6 or 7. Many different jobs had terrible working conditions and bad pay. Some jobs that included terrible child labor included spinners, doffers, mine workers, carrier workers, and farm workers. Lewis Hine witnessed these injustices firsthand and took many photos in the children's work environments. Congress should change child reform laws and regulate stricter laws in the United States. First of all, the spinners had one of the most painful and laborious jobs in the industry. They walked up and down the aisles and tended to the threading machines. Consisting of mostly females, they tied loose ends and picked out dust and lint from the machines, sometimes for 11 or 12 hours a day without breaks. An average shift went from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. This grueling work only resulted in an average of $4.54 a week. Entire families went to work in the mills, and since the parents didn't go to school, the children didn't either. Because of the extended standing and vigorous work, common hazards were eye and muscle strain and respiratory diseases from the machines. Machinery injuries were extremely common, resulting in severed limbs and injuries.
Additionally to spinners, the glassmakers also had a terrible job with many hazards and little pay. They had to be apprentices on the job to the adults while they blew the glass for hours on end. They tended the furnaces in the blazing heat and were paid for the piece of glass. The factories operated around the clock, and the children were forced to work at night to earn more money. However, some of the children had the option to go to school while they worked at night, forcing them to have almost no sleep. Because the bus system stopped after the evening, many had to sleep on the factory floor or choose to take a long walk home. This meant a sudden change from the blistering heat to the cold weather outside. Common health hazards of the job include eye trouble, many ailments, heat exhaustion, burns, and cuts. The average lifespan for somebody working there was 41 to 42 years. Fumes, dust, and broken glass were everywhere in the workplace. All these risks and terrible conditions only give the child workers about 65 cents per day. Newsies were yet another example of a terrible child labor-fueled industry. The job consisted of impoverished small children, sometimes as small as the age of 6, who would buy newspapers with their own money and then sell them on the streets. They received no set wage or commission, so if they did not sell enough, they would lose money. They spent all their day working on the streets in order to sell the newspapers. Since they spent so much time trying to earn money, they would have no time to go to school. Most didn't have a real home, and selling newspapers on the streets was their life. Risks included being abused, heat, and kidnappings.
The breaker boys' job consisted of sitting outside dirty coal chutes filled with ash and soot. They were responsible for picking out pieces that couldn't burn. Because a foreman was constantly watching, they had to work quickly or else be at risk of getting hit. Most of the workers were underage and lied to be in the jobs. Because they worked all day, they did not have time to go to school, removing them from an opportunity for a bright future. The children could fall into the coal chute as well as have respiratory diseases and chronic coughs. When Lewis Hine was in Pennsylvania, he witnessed 2 boys fall into the coal chute, where they were smothered to death. Breaker boys worked all day and sat on the benches with their backs constantly bent over the running chute.
In conclusion, child labor is a major problem in the United States. Many jobs took advantage of young workers from impoverished families. Working conditions were terrible, and pay was also terrible. Congress should change laws regarding child labor in workplaces, and they should make laws stricter to prevent abuse to children. It is crucial to have these stricter laws and to destroy further exploitation of children in the industry. Thank you for your time.